What's up guys, welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale showcase. In this video we're going to take a look at my Hot Toys Loki collection as I welcome the newly released God Loki into the fold. I'm also going to play some clips from his journey in the MCU, documenting his amazing character arc concluding at the end of Loki Season 2 on Disney+. But before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now let's get to it.
The casket wasn't the only thing you took from Jotunheim that day, was it?
No. In the aftermath of the battle, I went into the temple and I found a baby. Small for a giant's offspring, abandoned, suffering, left to die. Laufey's son.
Laufey's son?
Yes.
Why? You were knee-deep in Jotun blood. Why would you take me?
You were an innocent child.
No. You took me for a purpose. What was it? Tell me!
I thought we could unite our kingdoms one day, bring about an alliance, bring about a permanent peace through you.
What?
But those plans no longer matter.
So I am no more than another stolen relic, locked up here until you might have use of me.
Why'd you twist my words?
You could have told me what I was from the beginning. Why didn't you?
You're my son. I wanted only to protect you from the truth.
Well, because I'm the monster parents tell their children about at night?
No.
You know, it all makes sense now why you favored Thor all these years. Because no matter how much you claim to love me, you could never have a frost giant sitting on the throne of Asgard.
First up, we have the Avengers Endgame release of Loki, MMS 579. This was the first version of Loki I purchased, and I liked it so much, I got a second. I played that clip between Loki and Odin because I feel that that moment became the catalyst that sends Loki down the path of being more of a villain. At the core of it, I think, Loki has always felt different, always felt out of place, and not as loved as Thor in his father's eyes. This moment, this discovery, confirms all those unspoken feelings and emotions he had obviously been dealing with. Loki's desire to rule, to feel important, to feel strong, actually stems from the lack of acceptance, acknowledgement, and love he got from his father his whole life, I think.
My friends.
Where's Odin?
Father has fallen into the Odin sleep. Mother fears he may never awaken again.
We would speak with her.
She has refused to leave my father's bedside. You can bring your urgent matter to me. Your king.
Next up, we have my second Avengers Endgame Loki figure in a set and forget pose with the gold throne, which I've had him posed up on for ages now. From memory, this throne is by Base Station, I believe, and I got it long ago from Toys Wonderland. It's a really striking piece for me. It has good size, good weight, and really adds presence on the shelf. I find it quite eye-catching. I included the previous scene from Thor 1, as that is the throne that this is supposed to be replicating. I love that I can display him like this. For me, having him posed like this showcases the villain that is Loki, the ego and thirst for power he definitely has in him. In that scene, I love the use of angles and lighting. It adds a unique perspective and draws you in, I think. His ego couldn't handle the jealousy within him, and he had to remove Thor from the equation so he could be king. He really believes here that having the title will make him feel better. But here he has no idea of what being a leader, being a king, or even being a god is all about yet.
I could have done it, Father! I could have done it! For you! For all of us!
No, Loki.
Loki, no!
Next up, we have the Avengers Loki with the President Loki head sculpt on it for my second look for the Avengers figure. I really like the President Loki head sculpt, which I'll show a closer look at when we get to President Loki, but ever since it came out, I've been thinking about using that head on this look, and now I finally have. Looking at it on him, I'm really happy with it, and I can definitely see myself keeping this look for this second figure. The connection is the same on the neck for each figure, so it's super easy to switch as well. I've also chosen to use the green magic effect President Loki comes with to add some flair and highlight his magic using abilities on this pose.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
Loki, brother of Thor.
We have no quarrel with your people.
An ant has no quarrel with a boot.
You planning to step on us?
I come with glad tidings of a world made free.
Free from what?
Freedom. Freedom is life's great lie. Once you accept that in your heart, you will know peace.
Yeah, you say peace. I kind of think you mean the other thing.
Sir?
Now, after failing to gain the approval that he wanted from his father and falling into space after fighting Thor, Loki goes on a downward spiral which leads to him working for Thanos with delusions of grandeur that involve him ruling over Midgard, aka Earth. I've been thinking about how in the film The Avengers that Loki, he must have been affected by the power of the scepter when he had it in his possession too. I can't help but think that the scepter was drawing out his negative emotions more, much like it did with the Avengers when they had it in their possession. That never gets talked about, I think, and it's just my observation, but I think it affected Loki too and brought the worst out of him. I wonder if they thought about that being a plot line, being that they didn't really point it out specifically.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Puny god.
I wanted to include the Hulk smash scene, one, because I wanted to do this pose with these guys, and two, because it was such a great scene and moment. I had done a pose like this before previously with Deadpool and Hulk, but not with Loki, so here it is. Believe it or not, they are balancing on their own like this too, no stands or tricks needed, which is cool. Loki is balancing on his head a bit, so it wouldn't be something I'd ever leave posed up like this. Now, at this point, Loki has tried to bring a war to Earth, thinking he would be rewarded with being the ruler. Again, trying to get acknowledgement of his potential he felt he never got growing up. Only to be defeated again, this time by the Avengers. Next up, I chose to do the pose replicating the scene from Avengers Endgame, when the timeline changes and Loki becomes a variant. All because the Avengers go back in time to try and fix what happened in Infinity War. After doing it for the video, I'm actually liking this pose more than I thought I would, and now I'm considering leaving him like this, on the shelf for a while. If you followed Loki's journey, you know he started to show redeemable qualities in Thor Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, and the beginning of Avengers Infinity War, where we get to see him change and become heroic. But now, we're right back to that guy who was in so much pain and so out of control at the end of Avengers. I love that they picked up from there for this variant's journey.
Hello. Which one of us are you? Pigs to wolves.
Ivy's.
About that. What did you expect? So good a bargain. How about this one? My army, my throne.
About that. My beef-witted, half-faced scrub. Is there an alligator in here?
Next up, we have President Loki from the Loki series on Disney+, TMS 066. And in my book, this is a very underrated figure. Taking a quick look at Alligator Loki, who comes with President Loki as an accessory, this was a fun addition, especially since it gave us such a funny moment in the show when he bit off President Loki's hand. Wondering if it technically gives me another Loki in the collection. I guess it kinda does. Now, looking at the figure again, even though he's in a suit, which isn't as glamorous as a superhero outfit, the figure is still a captivating piece to me. They did a good job with the tailoring, and I like that they added all the little tears and scrapes on it to try to replicate the look in the show. But for me, the star of the show is the head sculpt. What I think about it so much is I think they captured his likeness really well, even though he's doing such an exaggerated look. Now, I've done a video previously posing this guy, and what I love about this, the head sculpt, it allows you to have more creativity, I think, to do some weird kooky type poses someone crazy laughing might do. You don't get that often in a sculpt, something that's not stoic or angry. That's one of the reasons I've got a second for my Avengers Loki. I really like this one. I was having so much fun with this figure again when I got him out to film. I decided to do a couple more poses here just to showcase some of the fun ways you can incorporate a head sculpt like this. This one here is one I did earlier in my Loki on the shelf video. If you want to go and check that out after this for more Loki poses, be my guest. I like the cane accessory. Again, it's another thing that allows you to get creative and do something that you might not normally do. Because he's just got a suit on, he has great mobility, so you can actually do a lot of dynamic poses, which plays into being able to do something like this without worrying about leaving him in it for a long period of time. And then for the next pose, we have Loki dancing with the cane, and I imagine laughing maniacally, living his best villainous life. This pose was an interesting one I wanted to try. I saw a picture of someone dancing with a cane when I was researching some poses to do with the cane. It was tough to pull off and to get him to balance, but not impossible. This figure actually has pretty good balance, so with some tweaking I was able to get him to stand there pretty solid. Again, probably not something I would leave him in on the shelf, but fun to play around with for photography. And then we have the last pose I did with President Loki to be the one that I put him on the shelf with in the display for now. What I love about that moment in the show is when our variant Loki encountered all the other Lokis, he sees all of them betraying each other. He really starts to see the error in his ways, and you see him realize how silly he's been. They were a great example for him to observe and realize the way he's been living doesn't work out for him in the long run. So I love this figure for that. I love that this is the version of Loki where his ego is out of control and he's delusional in his beliefs. It's fun to have that fun villainous version of the character as well.
I love you, my sons. Remember this place. Home.
Loki, I thought the world of you. I thought we were gonna fight side by side forever. You know, maybe you're not so bad after all, brother.
Maybe not.
Thank you. If you're here, I might even give you a hug.
I'm here.
You should choose your words more carefully.
Next up, we move on to TVA Loki, TMS 061, representing his hero look from Loki Season 1. It's another simple outfit, but after watching and loving the series as much as I do, I love having this look of him. The figure comes with a lot of accessories too, including Miss Minutes, a computer, daggers, 2 versions of the gold sword, one normal and one on fire, along with the green fire effects he has for each hand. Then there's the head sculpt. This one comes with, which is one of my favorites as well. I feel like they did a good job on this portrait and I definitely see him in it. In regard to the clip I just played, even though it was before President Loki's scene in the show, I wanted to show it because of how it impacted Loki and helped him see the error in his ways. By seeing his life play out, that really humbled him and really was a catalyst for him to course correct and change his path with the TVA. I think from here, he gains a new purpose with what will end up being his true self.
I want a life. I want to live. What's wrong with wanting something, Loki? What do you want?
I want to stop He Who Remains.
No, wrong. Try again. What is it that you really want? Come on.
I want to save this. I want to save everything, all of it.
Is it really that hard? Come on, keep trying.
I want to save the TVA.
Why?
I want the TVA back.
And?
What do you want?
I want my friends back.
2 bourbons, please.
Excellent choice, Sylvie.
I want my friends back. I don't want to be alone.
See? We're both selfish.
Next, I wanted to try another pose of this Loki walking, wielding his daggers, as I've tried something like that before in my on the shelf video, and I wanted to see if I could recreate it again, as this one is currently the pose I now have him in for the display. Now, I would have been here all day if I tried to show you all the clips that I love from the Loki series to add in to document his journey, but I can't, so I skipped ahead here all the way to near the end of Season 2, where Loki has been trying to figure out how to save the day, especially for all the people he's grown close to in the TVA, including Sylvie and Mobius. I love that scene because we see Loki now at a point understanding what really matters to him in life, whereas before, he didn't know. Now he knows.
You gotta keep the big picture in mind. Most purpose is more burden than glory. And trust me, you never want to be the guy who avoids it because you can't live with the burden.
How do you live with it?
Scar tissue.
What happened to your partner? The hunter who pruned the boy when you couldn't?
Well, things worked out fine for her. She actually became a judge. You know, she's the reason you're here instead of dust in a TVA vent. That's that. She knew the hard thing to do was the thing that had to be done. And by hard, I mean impossible. No, there's no comfort. You just choose your burden.
Thank you, Mobius.
After literally trying everything he can to stop the loom from exploding, including centuries of learning, Loki meets with Mobius one last time and has that discussion where Mobius beautifully explains purpose is more burden than glory. Man, I love that whole conversation and realization for Loki. In my eyes, it was beautifully done. Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, their chemistry in this show was off the charts. These two together, I could watch all day, I'm telling you. It is in fact one of the reasons why I constantly go back and rewatch both seasons of the show. They're just great together. I chose this pose because I feel like it showcases Loki searching for answers, much like he was in the series, and I've taken the TVA doorway that comes with the battling version of Deadpool for this too, as I feel this is much better quality than the one the figure comes with.
Welcome, he who remains.
What are you doing?
Open the door.
Loki!
I know what I want. I know what kind of god I need to be. For you. For all of us.
No!
Loki! I need to get out there.
Next up, we have the DX40 God Loki sculpted hair version. This is the new addition to the collection that prompted me to make this video. Now, that moment in the finale of Season 2 where Loki realizes what he has to do is some of the best Marvel storytelling I've seen. They build up to it so nicely that when he realizes what he needs to do and then goes and does it, it's so rewarding for me as a viewer. That whole sequence of transforming into God Loki gives me all the feels every time I watch it. Especially the moment when he turns around and looks at Mobius and Sylvie and tells them he knows what kind of god he wants to be. For you, for all of us. Just like he did to Odin at the end of Thor, except this time for all the right reasons. Beautiful writing and thoughtfulness to bring that line back. This time, it was absolute magic. Now this figure, just to have it to represent that moment alone, so worth it. Now, as I just got this guy in, I wanted to do a few poses, so I thought I'd try to recreate some moments of him becoming God Loki to show you some display options for him. This one here being the moment when Loki gets to the end of the walkway in the loom room and uses his power and magic to destroy it, to create the new way for the timelines to survive. It is such an epic moment. I'll never forget what I was thinking. I was like, what the heck is going on here when watching it for the first time, on the edge of my seat. As for the pose, I'm using the partial effect hands which fit the scene perfectly, and the rest is pretty easy to do. The arms move well and it's all material and he balances really well, so no need for a stand if you don't want to. I personally think they did a good job with his robe / cape as well. The wires held up really well for this pose, surprisingly. Okay, for this pose, I wanted to play around with having him hold on to the strands of timelines, like when he started grabbing them in the scene after the loom exploded. I wanted to see how it could look as a display option. Now, they are a fun accessory and I'm glad they gave us some effects to play around with, but they are a bit awkward and heavy for the figure to hold in certain positions. And I noticed that straight away when playing around trying to have him hold them in various positions. I think this figure should have come with either stronger shoulder, elbow and wrist joints or lighter effects, so holding these wouldn't be an issue. Moving on to the next pose, I wanted to convey Loki grabbing onto the strands of timeline and using them to help pull himself up the staircase that formed before him, much like a rope. To help sell this type of look, I'm using the rock base that comes with the quarter scale Iron Man Mark 6 figure. It's nice and big with a little bit of a lip on it for him to step up onto as well. Again, no issues with articulating the figure to complete these types of poses. The ankles are much more sturdy than the previous Loki figures, so that helps with getting him to balance. And as the strands have weight to them, I'd say it's best to wait to balance the figure in the pose when you've added the strands, as their weight changes up the balance for the figure. Moving on to the next pose, I wanted to showcase him holding on for dear life while trying to push forward and climb the stairway up to his new throne. This required me to figure out how to make the figure look like he's pushing forward, fighting the resistance of the timeline strands as they showed us. They showed us that was difficult for him to pull along in the show. That's why I chose to have his hands by his sides like this. If you think about real world physics and if you've ever had to pull something heavy before, this is a natural type of stance to have for someone trying to pull immense weight behind them. The moment itself of Loki grabbing the strands and making that walk as well is so well done. The filmmakers on this show took such care in everything they did. They had such a clear vision with everything, from the tone to the color schemes, the music and cinematography. Everything about it is top tier, especially Loki's hero arc and conclusion. Okay guys, here we have the gold throne and backdrop that God Loki comes with. And before I put him in his final pose, I wanted to take a quick look at these a little closer. The throne is a great addition in my opinion, and even though I don't like these big ass bases, I like how it works with this one. The gold has a nice shine to it when the light hits it, and I feel it's a great addition not just because it looks cool, but because of the meaning it has in Loki's journey as well. I also took a couple shots of Loki in front of the backdrop just to see how the colour of it would look with him for photography. I'm using a green and purple lighting setup as well, trying to have it match the colour of the backdrop a little bit. And I think he looks good in front of it, but when it's more blurred and not as in focus I think. So on the shelf I'm probably not going to use it. One, because it's really big, but two, these types of things on the shelf generally don't work for me. And now for my final pose with God Loki, and most likely the pose I'm going to keep him in on the shelf. We have him sitting on his throne as the God of Stories. Firstly, I'm using it with the backdrop to see how it looks. I do like it with photography. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, if you would use the backdrop or not, or if you would go without it. The moment of Loki finally sitting on the throne, this time not the one he wanted, but the one he needed to be on. Such a satisfying character arc, right up there with Tony Stark, Steve Rogers and Black Widow in my book. And now here we are without the backdrop, and I feel like you can see the figure better like this, especially his cape flowing up in the wind. When it came to trying this pose, I did start off by trying a few different variations. One of them being his arms straight out to the side, leaning forward like he was really struggling to hold on to the timelines. However, when I started trying to do this, I learned real quick that his arms and wrists aren't strong enough to hold the weight of the strands out at the sides like that. So it was nothing for the strands to sit on, and he can't really hold them out and make the arms look natural. So I didn't like that, or at least I couldn't figure it out. So because of that, I opted to try something different and have his arms down at the side, resting on the chair like he's more settled in and relaxed, holding the strands over time, which he would need to be. And now this look, I think I'm going to display it for a while. This allows the strands to rest on the ground, and for a long-term display option, it's more ideal in my opinion than worrying about the arms becoming loose, trying to hold the weight of them out to the side. And that's it guys and girls. I hope you've enjoyed this video and maybe got some inspiration for your own displays. Loki is one of my favourite characters, and the 2 seasons they did on Disney Plus are some of my favourite stuff Marvel has ever done. They've done Loki justice, and what I love about our hobby is we get to have these representations of these characters we love on our shelf, which is pretty awesome. I thank you all for tuning in, and if you haven't already done so, do us a favour and hit that like button, notification bell and subscribe to the channel. But for now, until next time, I'm out.